Mr. Wagner. This is my presentation on the death of the 35th president, also known as President JFK. Oh my goodness. Alright, JFK, also known as John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was born May 29th, 1917 in Brookline, Massachusetts. He graduated from Harvard University. He also served in World War II, and he served as president in the climax of the Cold War after he got out of World War II. And then he was later assassinated in Texas. JFK is a very large family. They date back into being in politics for a long time. His grandfather was in the, elected into the Massachusetts legislature in like 1888. And his brother Robert was also a U.S. Attorney General, and then also served in the Senate, so they're very prominent in the political area. How the death of JFK impacted the world at the time. JFK was shot November 22nd in 1963 during a parade in Texas. He was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald during the height of the conflict. Like, people didn't like the thought of a Vietnam War, and then also the Cuba conflict. So it also affected the world time because he was trying to beat the Russians to the moon. And it also happened during a time when tensions with us and Cuba were high after the Bay of Pigs. The world was shocked with his death, and people were just devastated all over the world because he was just a great guy. How his death still affects the world today. His death caused more people to talk about civil rights because he passed the Civil Rights Act. And then later, after his death, the act was reopened and discussed. But there's a story about JFK when he went up to the Senate and said, "We need to get to the moon before the Russians if we want any power in this world." So the space program was going good until he died. And they put a halt to it, and then 6 years later we made it to the moon, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. His death also helped people not think about the Vietnam War or de-escalate the situation, because it was a very big deal at the time. In conclusion, JFK's death was one of the worst tragedies of the 1900s or of all time. His death led our nation into a new era with the space program and the civil rights movement.